Hello everybody, welcome back to another Asphalt 9 patch notes video. Today we have two seasons in one update. We have the Wanderlust season and the 5th anniversary season. Now before I get into it, I do want to mention a couple of things. Firstly, this video will be separated into seasons, as are the patch notes. So first I'll go over the general things coming along with this update. Then I will cover the Wanderlust season, then I will cover the 5th anniversary season. Also, I have no idea if I should be saying it with an accent or not, but whatever. Secondly, of course, be sure to follow me on all my different social media accounts for different updates and exclusive content for those separate platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and of course, you can join my Discord to chat with a bunch of other cool people. And finally, I know I'm gonna sound a bit weird when I ask you guys this, but please watch until the end of the video. When I check my retention stats, it seems like people only watch around 25% of the entire video, which means I get a lot of comments, people asking a bunch of different things that are just covered in the video. So if you have any questions, be sure to watch the entire video because I can almost guarantee you that your questions will be answered through watching the whole video. But anyway guys, let's get into the patch notes for the update, then we'll cover the separate seasons. Alright, let's start talking about the new cars with the absolute king of this update, the De Tomaso P72. And I don't mean that necessarily only in terms of stats, but also because of looks. Can you just admire this absolutely amazing, beautiful machine for a second? It looks straight out of like a 1960s retro future design. I love the design of this car. But anyway, let's stop gawking over the looks of this car and actually talk about the stats, because I believe this is the new A-class king in terms of rank. As far as I'm aware, the new Hackintosh goes to 4,559 and this car goes to 4,586. That is just a bit of a visual bug that you're saying 1,586, but rest assured the max rank is 4,586. But anyway, let's talk about the actual stats. The top speed is pretty darn good. With nitro, you should be going around 243 miles per hour, which is good. It's not a top speed king like the Citroen GT or anything like that, but it is relatively decent. Now, what you want to pay attention to is the combination of all of the other stats as well, because it has very good acceleration at 82, pretty good handling at 75, and very good nitro efficiency at just above 71. So all of those are going to combine to make it a very, very good and competitive A-class car, and of course, the new rank king for A-class. Next up, we have a very, very good B-class car and another stunningly beautiful machine, the Apollo Evo. Unfortunately, this makes it the best Apollo in the game. RIP Apollo N. But anyway, this is not going to be the stat king of B-class, but it is definitely going to be near the top at rank 4,265. And of course, you can see the standout feature of this car is the acceleration at just above 85, which is very good. Now, I don't believe this will be the acceleration king. I believe the Revuelto has a acceleration stat of 86, but 85 is certainly no slouch. So all of the other stats also look pretty good, I would say. The only thing I'm worried about is its slightly lower top speed compared to some of the other B-class cars. But again, this is not a king, so it still does pretty darn good in terms of the stats and rank ratio. Of course, all of the cars that are receiving a unique decal with this update will be displayed on screen as well, so you guys can take a look at those. Next up, we have the Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR, one of the coolest manufactured cars to come out within the last, I don't know, 40 years or so. I don't think it's that old, but anyway, this is a really stunning car, but unfortunately, the rank is not that good. It's rank 3,575 at max in Class C. Now, this is actually, to give you guys some context, a bit worse than the Vencer Sarth's rank. Now, the Vencer Sarth is definitely a good car. It can hold its own any day, but that just tells you this won't be in C-Class Elite or anything like that. But its stats are pretty darn decent. Again, comparing it to the Vencer Sarth, it has less top speed, but better acceleration. Handling is a bit better as well, and so is the nitro. So this is going to be pretty decent for multiplayer, I would assume, but don't expect it to knock your socks off, unfortunately. But I still think it's going to be fairly decent for C-Class multiplayer. Next up, we have an interesting race car. This is the Porsche 935 from 2019. Now, this is ranked 4,229 at max, which sits pretty comfortably in the mid to top end of A class. Now, the thing I want to compare it to is, of course, the Glickenhaus 007S, because it's also a race car and it is very similar in rank. The 007S is rank 4,187 and it'll sit right below this car in terms of rank. However, the Glickenhaus seems to have higher top speed and acceleration. The handling is not too far behind, but the nitro is significantly worse. The Porsche, for context, has nitro of 72, as you can see, and the 007S has nitro of 55. So you're trading off a bit of stats there, but the 007's higher top speed and acceleration might make it a bit more enjoyable to drive for higher skilled players, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly how these two cars compare. But like I said, they do trade off in those stats, so maybe the compromises of the 007 will be fixed with this car and you might want to drive this car instead. Either way, it looks like a very good A-class car. Next up, for B-class, we have a car that doesn't seem to reflect its real-life performance in terms of its rank in-game, but although that seems to be a lot of the case with some cars in Asphalt 9, but anyway, this is a pretty okay B-class car, to be honest. It's nothing very special. To give you guys context of where it will sit in terms of rank, it should be just below the Cadillac CN concept. So yeah, not anything super noteworthy, but I think that maybe also reflects the ugliness of this car. Maybe a bit of a hot take there, although I think most people can agree the new BMWs do look quite ugly, but you can see it has a decent combination of specs for this rank. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about acquiring this car, but we'll go over how to get all of these cars during the patch notes section. So that'll tell you guys where you can get these cars in terms of the events and whatnot, and maybe what requirements you will need as well. Last but certainly not least, we have the Porsche Panamera Turbo S. Now this was a bit of a surprise because when I read it in the actual patch notes, I was like, oh cool, we're getting another cool sedan. Maybe it'll be, you know, a generic B-class car or maybe even a D-class car. But no, this seems to be at the very top of C-class. I don't believe it's a king. I think some of the C-class cars will go over rank 4,000, but this does sit above the Aranera. So yeah, that is a very interesting decision. Now, I'm very excited to have more sedans in Asphalt 9. I think we really have to have more variety in terms of body styles. Like I said, I'm always open to having like SUVs and maybe different hatchbacks and stuff like that. I think Asphalt 9 should get wild, but anyway, that's a topic for a separate discussion. This car does have some pretty good stats. The acceleration is the standout feature at 88. Now, the top speed does lack a bit behind the Aranera at 326 compared to the Aranera's 351 kph, so keep that in mind, but the acceleration and nitro do look significantly better. So this will be very good for multiplayer, and again, I am just happy to have a different style of car in Asphalt 9. Hopefully we get more cars like this in the future. So those are the cars coming in the next update with the Wanderlust and the 5th anniversary season. Now I'm going to go over what is changing in the update in general, then we'll cover the separate events in the different seasons to tell you guys how to unlock those cars. So in this update, a bunch of cars are getting some improvements and balance changes. I won't go into the specifics. You can always check those out in the patch notes, but I want to cover the balance changes. So the Bugatti Bolide is getting 5.79 points of a nitro buff, which I believe a lot of people wanted, and a 0.41 acceleration nerf, and that will have some chassis adjustments as well to enhance the driving experience. The AMG GT Black Series will have its max nitro increased by 1.79 points and some handling improvements as well. The FV Frangivento Sorpasso had a nitro consumption bug, and that has been fixed, as well as the hitbox for the McLaren 600 LT Spider. Next up, if you're on Windows, you will be very happy to know that there will be options to activate VSync and unlimited FPS for Windows. So you'll now be able to unlock your FPS on Windows and go above 120, and that'll help reduce screen tear effects by using VSync. Now, we've had some discussion about frame rates in racing games because sometimes that can affect the leaderboard times. So it'll be very interesting to see how this might interact with crossplay if that comes soon. Again, this is just speculation. I have no idea when that's coming or any information about that. I'm just concerned about how the frame rate will change and affect different leaderboards and whatnot. And finally, for generic changes, we have a new music track. This is going to be called After Hot, and it's made by Sola, and that is an artist discovered by the Wolves Records in collaboration with Wolverhampton Wanderers FC. I believe that's the football club that Asphalt 9 has been collaborating with over the past couple of weeks. Okay, now let's finally go over all of the season specific stuff. First, let's talk about the Wanderlust season. Embrace your Wanderlust in a season filled with joy, experience an array of wonderful events, and get a cruise to the end of the road. So let's talk about the Legend Pass benefits for this season. So with that season, with the Legend Pass, you will be getting the BMW M4 GT3. There will be a legendary car hunt for the Monza SP1, 5 epic import parts, over 1,000 tokens, some wild cards, an exclusive decal for that BMW I mentioned earlier, extra gas tank, and more. Of course, you know by now all of the benefits you get from the Legend Pass. So let's talk about the events coming with the Wanderlust season. Now, you will have a chance to get the Ferrari Enzo in a weekend rampage. That is very awesome. So every weekend you will receive 25 blueprints if you complete the event. So that is really cool because I believe that is finally coming back. I think it had a generic car hunt in the past, but either way, this is a Legend Pass car becoming more available for free-to-play users, which is awesome. And the performance in B class is not too bad as well. The Lamborghini Miura concept, that is the C-Class Miura, will also have a key hunt, and that will be the support car of the special event coming in that season. As we discussed the Panamera Turbo S previously, that will be coming in this season with a key hunt. So that is interesting because obviously with a key hunt, you need to max out the car's star count before you can unlock it. So I'm not sure how the community will react to that, but at least it is a free-to-play event in general. Now, the special event for that season, as I discussed earlier, the Miura concept will be a support car. The big featured car will be the Apollo Evo. So yeah, I think that should hopefully be good because I don't think that's going to be locked specifically behind Legend Pass cars. So that'll be definitely nice to see, but because all of the cars are not readily available, it might be a more difficult event, but hopefully it won't be just paywall locked. There will also be some pre-anniversary events, no specific details on that. And there's also a Green Game Jam special event, and it'll be just a free try event where you can collect a decal for the Rimac Nevera and get some extra credits, tokens, and some blueprints for that car. There will also be a 75th Porsche anniversary with a limited time event with a special livery that you can see here for the Porsche Taycan, which is really cool. And what I am most excited about is the Snapdragon Mobile Open is returning with the qualifiers happening on the 6th and 13th of June. All right, are you guys all done? Because I am certainly not. We now have the events and notes for the 5th anniversary season. Of course, the Asphalt 9 5th anniversary is coming up. The game was released back in 2018, so this July will mark the 5th anniversary of the global launch for Asphalt 9. So there will be a Legend Pass for this season, and that will give you the Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR with some import parts, some extra tokens and wildcards, and of course a decal for the CLK GTR. Now let's talk about the events for this season, including a burst of speed, which we don't have the details of yet, but the Pagani Zonda R is getting an Unleashed event as well. As you probably predicted, with the Porsche 935 being a real-life race car, that will be unlockable through a Grand Prix event. Another Legend Pass car is also coming back with the McLaren Elva, and that will be available through a car hunt event for everyone to play. During the 5th anniversary season, there will be 2 key hunts, and that will be for the ATS Automobili Corsa RR Turbo and the Pagani Zonda HP Barchetta. Now, I'm sure you guys have noticed that the Faraday Future Road Test is currently going on, but it will also return during the 5th anniversary season as well. Now, of course, there will also be a very special event to celebrate the 5th anniversary, and that will involve the Koenigsegg Jesko, Genti Aquilon, Apollo N, Vencer Sarth, and Porsche 911 Targa. So I know that was a lot to take in. Of course, with all of these videos, I will be linking the patch notes in the description if you want to browse through them just in case you missed anything. And yeah, there is a lot to unpack here. So I'm still thinking about everything, to be honest. I don't know how to process all of it. We'll have to wait and see the specific details of the 5th anniversary event, because I know some players might be disappointed with the car roster for that event, but keep in mind there is also going to be a burst of speed, and we don't have the details of the cars in that event just yet. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts of the patch notes for these 2 seasons in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.